Hello, it's Kelly Rose here with Splitcoaststampers today to share with you this really fun and unique watercolor background using plastic wrap and markers. So let's get started. So the card that I showed you was done with one of the new Celebration items with Stampin' Up, but mostly I just am here to show you the technique. So when I get started with this, I like to put some paper towel down on my work surface since I'm working with water. And then I'm going to use 2 pieces of watercolor paper, just your favorite. I use the Fluid 100 from Stampin' Up, and I have cut this down, 4 3/4 by 3 1/2, 3 1/2 by 4 3/4. And I have 2 of them, and while you don't need to, I like to have one under my plastic wrap as I'm working, and then I can see exactly where my color is going to go. So I know that I'm going to use my greeting over here, so I want the majority of my color in this area. So it's something you want to keep in mind as you're doing this technique. So you do want to use 3 or 4 colors in the same color family. You want to start by putting down your lightest color. So I'm going to start with this Bermuda Bay, and then I'll come in with Pacific Point and Misty Moonlight, and then Night of Navy. Now, because I'm doing this walrus and he's just like laying on his back, I can kind of do the color all over. But if you're wanting more of like some water with sky, then you want to stick with your darker colors down here and your lighter blues up here. But because I wanted vibrant color for the walrus to lay in, I'm gonna just scribble on some color, and then I'll come in with the Pacific Point, and then with the Misty Moonlight, and this just kind of adds to the depth of the color using all 4 colors in here. You're not really going to see any differentiation like what you see on the plastic right now. Okay, so now this part is critical when you squirt with your water. If you use a lot of water, you're going to get something more like what I showed you. If you use just a little water, you're going to get something more like this, okay? So I'm going to try to achieve this look, because what I love about this, which you get with the plastic wrap, is this like little webbing on the edges, and that I really love. So just a couple of squirts. So I did 3, and now I'm going to lay my paper on top of the other paper and kind of wrap this up and turn it over. I'll remove this, and now what you want to do is come in here really fast with your fingers. Don't let it, you know, sink in and get dry, and move that water around, and that's going to be great. I love that. That turned out great. All right, so I'm just going to set this aside with the plastic wrap on here, because with the plastic wrap, you're going to get these really interesting lines in your image. And I think that'll look really cool for that otter to be laying down in. So I'm going to set this aside and proceed. I'm ready to stamp on here and show you the next part of this technique, which is to paint whatever image you stamp on here, paint it with a light solution of bleach. Now you can use full strength bleach, but the nice thing about using this Dakin solution, which you can get online, is it's not as strong, and so the fumes are not as bad. So I'm going to grab my Stamparatus, because I'm working on watercolor paper. I might want to stamp my image a couple of times. So I've just got my paper down with the, holding it down with the magnets, And I'm going to get that little walrus out who's laying on his back. And we'll just put him right there in that little pool of water. And pick him up, grab my StazOn ink, and we'll see how this turns out. Cute. I like it. I'm going to do it one more time. Now the reason why I'm using StazOn is because I'm coming back in with that bleach. So I do need a permanent solvent ink. You don't have to use StazOn, but it should be a solvent ink. All right, so I need to clean this off. So you need a dry paintbrush, and I like it to be fairly fine tipped. So this is just an old water painter, and I'm going to take a little bit of this bleach, move this out of the way, and just pour some in the cap like that. And now we're just going to paint the inside of the otter. Yay! So you could use a sailboat image if you did more of, darker colors in the bottom and a lighter color in the sky. So I'm just going to pour that right back in. This is the only thing I ever use this bleach solution for, so it's not going to hurt anything if it gets contaminated, but then it is bleach, so okay, doke. So I will need to rinse that thoroughly. And I'm ready to add some color to my little guy. So I have chosen the dark and light smoky slate. And I'm also going to be using the blender pen. He's so cute, isn't he? All right, let's go ahead and finish the card. I have my pieces and parts here. So I have a basic white card base in thick, and then I have a piece of this really cool marbly looking paper. And all of the supplies that I have used are listed in the description. Then I think that there's probably a link to my blog post where you can check out the supplies as well. I love working with Splitcoaststampers, and I hope that you have enjoyed this tutorial, and I hope that you will try it and upload your creations using this plastic wrap watercolor technique over on Splitcoaststampers. I would love to see what you do. All right, so now for the greeting, I am using this little piece of mother of pearl paper. You kind of need to see this there. Oh, isn't that something? It's really cool. So because it's really kind of slick, I am going to use the Stays On again. The two. So like I said, this one has more water on it, so it blends in a little bit more. And then this one, as you see, I wanted a tighter spot of color, but I got lots of that nice feathering. And also because I didn't use as much water, the lines from the plastic wrap really show up. And I can show you the one that we did together at the beginning of the video. It doesn't take very long to dry and be ready to use, and as long as you like what has happened under the plastic wrap, you can go ahead and take that out and dry it with your heat tool as well. Isn't that cool? All right, thanks so much, and I hope you give it a try.